guys, this is your host, and today we're going to be doing some rapid-fire prompts about the Israel-Iran tensions. So, let's just jump into it. So for this first prompt, I want you to go back in time and explain how did the Israel-Iran conflict begin? Okay, so this is basically saying that like Iran and Israel have always been fighting since forever. But of course, that's not true. So when we think about the modern state of Israel, right, they were founded in 1948. And at that time, there was no real Arab-Israeli conflict yet. It really started heating up during the 1960s after the Six-Day War. So at that time, Israel occupied the West Bank, which is different than Gaza. And then there was a lot of resentment from Palestinians because they wanted their own state. And then Hamas came on the scene in 1987 with the first intifada, or uprising against Israeli occupation. And then that kind of led us to where we are today. So I would say that the modern Israel-Arab conflict really started during the 1960s and then kind of became really serious in the 1980s. Okay, so now let's fast forward to the present day. What is the current situation between Iran and Israel? So right now, Iran and Israel are technically not at war, but they do have an uneasy truce. And the main reason why Iran doesn't want to attack Israel is because they do want to have the ability to strike Israel's nuclear facilities. So if they do attack, they're going to have massive retaliation. And also, Iran is very overextended right now with what's happening in Syria, with what's happening in Yemen, with what's happening in Iraq, with the whole Kurdish situation along their western border. And they're also having internal problems with their economy, with people protesting in the streets. So right now, it does not benefit Iran to start a war with Israel. So they kind of just left each other alone. And Israel is kind of focusing on the Palestinian issue right now, while Iran is focusing on its internal problems. Okay, so now that we've kind of established like how long this conflict has been going on and where it stands today, let's talk about the future. So this next prompt is going to be, what will the future of the Israel-Iran conflict be? So this is kind of hard to predict because there are so many different factors at play. Like we have internal issues within Iran. We have the Palestinian issue that needs to be resolved somehow. We have the U.S. factor. We have the Russia factor. There are so many things that could happen. So it's really hard to predict the future. But I think that eventually something will happen. Maybe it'll be a small border incursion. Maybe it'll be I don't know, rocket attack from Lebanon. Something will happen that will spark the next war between Israel and Iran. And when that happens, I think that Iran will be ready for it. I think that they're going to be prepared. They're going to know that this is coming. And so hopefully it won't be too bad. But I do think that war is inevitable between these two countries. All right, so this next prompt is going to be, what is the significance of the Temple Mount? So the Temple Mount is significant to both Muslims and Jews. However, Jews consider it to be the holiest site in Judaism because this is where the first temple and the second temple stood. And Muslims consider it to be the third holiest site in Islam because this is where the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock are located. So both religions consider this to be a holy site. However, Jews have a stronger connection to it because it's mentioned more frequently in the Bible. And also they have archaeological evidence that proves that temples stood here in the past. So I would say that the main difference between Muslim and Jewish perspectives on the Temple Mount is that Jews consider it to be more important than Muslims do. However, Muslims do still consider it to be a holy site. Okay? So this next prompt is going to be, why is Iran supporting the Palestinians? So this is a great question because at first glance, it doesn't seem to make sense. Why would Iran support these people that are, across the border? Why don't they just focus on their own internal issues? Well, the thing is that Iran sees the Palestinian cause as a religious duty. So in the 1960s, Ayatollah Khomeini really promoted this idea that fighting against the Zionist entity is a religious duty for all Muslims. And this is because he saw the Palestinian struggle as a part of a larger struggle between good and evil. So in his view, the Palestinians were the good and the Israelis were the evil. And so he thought that it was every Muslim's duty to support the Palestinians. And this view is still held by many Iranian people today. So that's why you see Iran supporting the Palestinians. All right, so now let's take a look at this last prompt. What is the significance of the current ceasefire between Israel and Hamas? So the significance of the current ceasefire is that it has given Israel time to regroup, and also it has given Hamas time to regroup. So neither side is really taking advantage of the other right now. And it has kind of just a pause in the fighting that kind of let everyone take a breath. So in a way, it's benefiting both sides because neither side is having to deal with the other right now. However, it is very fragile. And as soon as one side feels like they can get an upper hand, I'm sure that they're going to try to take it. But as of right now, it's just kind of a break in the fighting. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video. If you want to see more videos like this, you can check out my account. And thanks so much for watching.